So I have just made a very costly mistake by oversleeping and missing my flight. Welcome back to the Icebreakers podcast. Today's actually a Friday, and I was supposed to head home, and I certainly did not make my flight because I got in my Uber or my cab as the plane was boarding on my way to the flight. Anyways, this is a very important lesson. The money is already gone, and I'm going home to see my parents for my birthday. And ultimately, at the end of the day, the money will come back, but this time won't. And so I very quickly gave my card over and rebooked for the next flight. It doesn't matter. I'm not going to remember this money. But it did remind me of a very important quote from Kerry Washington, and she talks about missing buses. And basically, she says, if you miss your bus, it's not for you. And if you can get the bus, you run like hell for it. But if you miss it, it's ultimately not your bus. Now, this was my plane. The one before absolutely was my plane. That's my own fault. But I think in general, it is a good point to remember that if you miss something, it's not worth it to ruin your whole day over. I think about this a lot. I'm clearly at the airport, but I remember this a lot when I am actually on my way to work because I miss the bus all the time. And, oh, great. Well, since this show is a one-take wonder, we will not be fixing this. Anyways, back to Kerry Washington. Ultimately, at the end of the day, I feel like even if you miss it, you have to think in the greater context of this is 0.1% of my day, and you can't let that ruin the rest of your day. Now, granted, this is changing the itinerary for about 2-3 hours of my day, but honestly, it's fine. And I think it's important to remember that to be grateful for what you do have. I'm grateful that I am able to rebook quickly. I'm grateful that my parents didn't have to leave work yet and come pick me up and waste that time. And I'm grateful that I get to still spend that time with them. And I love Kerry Washington's quote, like in terms of anything, because if you run for the bus and you don't catch it, it's okay. It's not meant to be yours. You wait for the next one or you find a different way. And that's just how it goes. Also, for the fun fact today, I wanted to talk about buses because the first bus was actually created in 1662 and it was pulled by a kind of like a horse and buggy situation, but it fell out of favor because only nobility could use it. It was expensive. It was on cobblestone, wasn't very comfortable, and the need fell out. It took 150 years for the next bus to come about in France again. And this time it was 48 passengers and it was pulled by 3 horses. This still was really bad because it was really uncomfortable and it didn't last very long. But anyways, I'm very distracted by her talking, so that's it for this episode, and we're moving on to the next one. And see you in Cincinnati probably for the next one.